Hello, this is Unlimited Splash, where we get better at Magic together through a new draft every day. Today, I'm trying out something new. I want to see what Pick 2 draft is like. I've actually never done a Pick 2 draft because I did not play the set that shall not be named, so we're queuing up with only 3 other people. I have nothing against the format, but I also have absolutely no idea what to expect. So let's discover this format together. Okay, so let's see. Clearly I'm supposed to take cards that go well together, I think, right? I'm supposed to like establish myself in a lane. Well, we have a Brigid here, which is a nice Kithkin card, and then there's also Thoughtweft Lieutenant, which is a nice Kithkin card. So I feel like I should just take those two. In terms of flexibility, Silvergill Mentor is a very powerful card that would go into, I guess, multiple different blue decks, but it really wants to be in a Merfolk deck anyways. So I think maybe a way to think about this is like, what's the most powerful pair of cards if we could play it in our deck? And then what's the second most powerful pair of cards? And I think the most powerful pair would be Brigid and Klatchen's Heart, better than, for example, Silvergill Mentor and Silvergill Peddler. So, all right, I'll take these two. I usually do this by dragging this over. Okay, it did it with both of the ones I'd selected. Cool. Okay. Now, let's see. What do I think that person took? They seem to have taken a rare, and then, who knows, another rare or an uncommon. But maybe I'll take a Crossroads Watcher and a Gallant Foul Knight here. I feel like it seems like it's probably important to just stake a claim and cut all of one type of card. Now, the question is, would I rather have Reluctant Downguard or Gallant Foul Knight? I don't super love either one of these cards. I definitely want the Crossroads Watcher. Maybe I'd just rather have the Downguard because it's cheaper, but I don't know. I don't love understated 3 drops. So, okay, I'll take an understated 4 drop instead. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, next up, we have Bristlebane Outrider and Gallant Foul Knight, or a Wary Farmer. So it looks like the Kithkin plan is open. We might get a very synergistic deck out of this in the end. So I'll just snap up these two. I do want 2 drops. I kind of worry if the other people at the table really prioritize 2 drops. Maybe I could get a deck that doesn't really function. I guess I have to keep an eye out for that. Here, I can't really play Midnight Tilling in a Kithkin deck, and I think it is important that this is a Kithkin deck. Every single card I've taken so far is a Kithkin. So probably I'll take the Shapeshifter for the Kithkinness of it all. And then maybe Prideful Feastling. We're getting very 3-drop heavy, but I don't want Midnight Tilling. So maybe it's the Stoic Grove Guide over that guy. It does look like perhaps Elves is also open. Wow, this draft is just going at such a blistering pace. I feel like I can't make any decisions. Well, I don't really want to pivot to Elves. So perhaps I actually strategically pass an Elf and take an Evolving Wilds just to make it more likely that someone else ends up in Elves. Although it does have overlapping colors with Kithkin, so I'm not sure that that was the best idea. Wow, this is a tough format. Okay, well, I will definitely take the Selfless Safe Right. Technically, this is an elf, but you could just choose Kithkin as the type that gains hexproof and indestructible. So I'll snap that guy up, and I do like Bristlebane Outrider quite a lot, so I think I'll take that one. Surly Farrier is a 2-drop, so I have my eye on that. Hopefully, though, I cut Kithkin well enough that now we're going to get rewarded with 2-drops, but we need to take every 2-drop that we see, essentially, from here on out. It is extremely unlikely that I play this Evolving Wilds. Okay, here, Dundulan Weaver is a Kithkin 2-drop, and then Surly Farrier is another Kithkin 2-drop, and I think it's just that simple. Just snap those 2 up. Wow, we ended up in a lane immediately. I have no idea if this is how you're supposed to navigate a Pick 2 draft. Everyone who has Pick 2 draft experience, let me know. Let me know if I'm doing this thing right. Okay, now we got, not the greatest, not the most reassuring. So it looks like Elementals is open. I mean, I thought I pretty clearly cut Kithkin, so it would be surprising to me if someone's taking a bunch of Kithkin, but maybe they're taking Elves, but I also kind of cut Elves. Well, I wish I could play Ashling Rekindled, but I mean, I cannot pivot to blue-red. We're already on pack 2, pick 3, even though it feels like we've only done like 4 picks this entire draft. Okay, so I'll just take these 2. Eclipse Kithkin. Okay, so we should be getting every Kithkin that anybody opens. So I'll take Eclipse Kithkin and Unforgiving Aim. I have no idea if that's a recipe for a good deck because everyone is probably charging into a lane and cutting it off, right? If you get cut in a pick 2 draft on the same archetype, I imagine you're just cooked. Okay, we got back the 2-drop, which I was really hoping to wheel. Kind of sad to see Cinderstrike, Seer, Voracious Toneskinner, and Dawn Hand Eulogist. I mean, these are all cards This pack is just, if you saw this in a Premier draft, something would have gone really wrong. I don't know if this means something went wrong in our pick 2 draft, but in a Premier draft, that would mean something really went wrong. I guess I'd rather they be in red, maybe. And then Impolite Entrance. Okay. Well, Kinsbale Aspirant will almost certainly play because we need to lower our curve. And then it's a choice between Assert Perfection and Dundulin Weaver. I do really like Dundulin Weaver. I think that's an amazing card. Assert Perfection is really strong too, and I currently have no removal. I think I'll take the Assert Perfection. I might wheel this Dundulin Weaver. I probably shouldn't, but I might. And I think I just would not wheel Assert Perfection. That would go in absolutely any green deck. So, okay, I'll take the Assert Perfection. I have no removal, so it'd be nice to have a little bit. Very happy to see a Mist Meadow Council. That's a key Kifkin payoff. And then, I don't know, Personify could be good. This makes a Kifkin. It blanks removal that your opponent has and makes a Kifkin. Yeah, I guess I can take these two. I don't really want Noggle Robber at all, and I'm not going to play Midnight Tilling. I love Bloodbind Bidding. Actually, do I just take Sundappled Celebrant instead of Personify here? That's actually possible. I kind of like the idea of having a little bit of a top end. I tend to think that the all 2-drop stacks don't do great in Lorwyn. I like to have top end threats. More often, I feel like I'm flooding in Lorwyn when I'm losing, more often than in a lot of other formats, which suggests that I'm not playing enough cards at the top end. Okay, this is fantastic. So Kinsbale Aspirant is an absolutely top card for us. Lissaland Informant is better than Surly Farrier. Creekwood Safe Ride being in here makes me sad, but someone to my left, maybe Elves. Yeah, Lissaland Informant is better than Surly Farrier, I think by a good amount. I do like that the Surly Farrier is a Kifkin, but I think the power of the Lissaland Informant puts it on top, and we have enough Kifkin that we should not, knock on wood, we should not have trouble playing our Kinsbale Aspirants. More can size. So Elves was wide open, but I'll take a Surly Farrier and a Gallant Foul Knight, cut my Unforgiving Aims, and I think I'll play both of these two cards. I don't really want to play Chomping Changeling either, so that might be our deck right there. And 10 the Springs actually is another card I do not want to play. Okay, we actually did wheel the Dundulin Weaver. That makes me feel pretty darn good. Now, I actually wonder if I do play a Chomping Changeling just for curve purposes and cut, maybe one Foul Knight. I will absolutely play this Dundulin Weaver, but I'm not playing 10 the Springs. Sure, these two can go straight to the sideboard. I need to cut one card. I don't think it's a 2-drop. Oh, Midnight Tilling. You do not belong in my deck. Yeah, I don't love the Chomping Changeling, but it is a Kifkin. I think it's better. Okay, actually, maybe I will just play a Surly Farrier over it. It is awkward on the curve. All these 2-drops. Nah, I'll probably actually play the Chomping Changeling. Not something I really want to be main decking in best of 1, but pick 2 is best of 1, right? It is best of 1, I think. It's supposed to be like the super fastest of all fast formats. All right, well, this is my deck. Looks like just a pretty standard Kifkin deck. If this were in best of 3, or if this were in best of 1 at Premier Draft, I would feel fine about it. Not amazing. Actually, hold on. I wonder if I'm on 9 forests, 8 plains. I wonder if I'm supposed to do 9 plains, 8 forests because I have the 2 1-drops in white. But okay, whatever. On to game 1. I do draft every single day, usually drafting Premier Draft, although I do every Win-A-Box challenge, and I also do traditional draft because the main point of my channel is a Magic improvement channel, and in particular, a community of drafters all trying to get better together. Traditional draft is nice because I'm playing in some big tournaments in 2026, and I am definitely trying to improve my game, not so much climbing up the arena ranked ladder. My mind is more on, can I do things like qualify for the limited championships? Can I play in regional championship tournaments and eventually I'll have to figure out constructed enough to play well in them? So all of that to say, if you want to get better at Magic along with me, click subscribe in the description below. Here, I'm going to take Dundulin Weaver over a Plains because I just have enough lands. Eclipse Kifkin is just doing it. What an amazing card. What an amazing card. Yeah, so I'm going to be taking absolutely every possible opportunity to qualify for the limited championships. I don't think I'll make it this year. I don't think I'm good enough yet, to be quite frank. That's just me being very honest. I'm going to have to improve to get to the point where I can play in the limited champs. But I'm going to try this year. I'm going to try next year. I'm going to try the year after. And I really hope that someday I make it. the limited championships, if you haven't heard, it's kind of the pro tour, but for limited. They made an event that's like as high level as a pro tour, but you don't have to play constructed, which was the main reason that I did not get involved in competitive Magic for a long time, because I don't really enjoy constructed that much. I mean, sometimes I do if the format's like really cool. Like right now, I think standard is fine, but for the last like few years, I really had no interest in learning standard when one deck is like 85% of the metagame. I much prefer the creative challenge of limited, where you have to figure out how your deck is going to be built every single time, you know, anew. So anyways, that's what my channel is all about, and I hope you'll join me. Okay, so in this game, you know, I did trade my Eclipse Kithkin for the Mischievous Sneakling. I really don't mind that, because I'm going to get to bring that back with Dundulin Weaver, hopefully. We maybe should be on 16 lands, looking at how this is working out. They cannot double block my Bristlebane Outrider, so I'm just going to go ahead and play this. It gets me closer to my Dundulin Weaver count. Yeah, we're definitely getting a little bit flooded. They cannot double block it because this cannot be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less, so we're just cracking in for 5 here. And I think I'm just trying to play a beatdown advantage, basically. So next turn, I'm going to play Dundulin Weaver, bringing back Eclipse Kithkin, unless they can kill one of my creatures. The ideal turn for me would be Dundulin Weaver, bring back the Eclipse Kithkin, play the Eclipse Kithkin, play a forest, assert Perfection from either Dundulin Weaver or Eclipse Kithkin onto Mistmeadow Council. Or if they play like a bigger threat, I could assert Perfection, something else onto their bigger threat. Okay, so what does this mean? They're trying to shut down Dundulin Weaver. I'm just going to take it. If they have a removal spell, I maybe get punished. But also, if I traded, they could just remove Bristlebane Outrider. So I really want to have Dundulin Weaver actually bring back a creature next turn. Yeah, that's kind of sweet, right? So I'm going to... Let's see. Yeah, giving everything first strike is really good, right? I don't even need to assert Perfection. I kind of want to assert Perfection while they're tapped down. So those are my two options. One option is Eclipse Kithkin, shoot Mistmeadow Council into Chaos Spewer, let's say, go in for 10. The other option is Gallant Foul Knight and attack. I think I'm going to do the Foul Knight. Assert Perfection while they're tapped down is pretty nice, but I just like the idea of pushing a huge amount of damage here. They can chump block Mistmeadow Council with the Changeling Wayfinder. I imagine that's what they're going to do. But they cannot block with Chaos Spewer because Mistmeadow Council has first strike. Yes, so now they're going really, really low. Now we just need to find a way to push 4 damage, and I do have a removal spell that they don't know about. Maybe I did want another Gallant Foul Knight. I wonder if I was under prioritizing that in the draft. I assume they don't attack here. They do get to Surveil. Okay, so what can we do? We can assert Perfection. Okay, first let's drop this Eclipse Kithkin. It might find us something relevant. Am I playing a second Gallant Foul Knight? Okay, that is relevant, right? So this creature or another Kithkin you control enters. Target creature you control gets +1/+1 and gains trample. Okay, so let's think this through. I think I want to do something like Gallant Foul Knight shooting the Wary Farmer. Or sorry, Gallant Foul Knight shooting the Chaos Spewer, I mean. Then attack with... Then play Thought Weft Lieutenant giving Dundulin Weaver +1/+1. The other option, yeah, I think that's exactly what I do. I think that's the way to push the most damage. So assert Perfection, shooting the Foul Knight into this guy. And then Thought Weft Lieutenant, buffing the Dundulin Weaver. So they can't block and straight up just get value here. If they want to block, they have to chump block Bristlebane Outrider with either Mistmeadow Council or Wary Farmer. Probably with Wary Farmer, I would guess. Oh, double block. You have to go to 1 if you double block something. Which you could do, but I mean, that would scare me if they do that. It would make me think maybe they have like bring everything back from your graveyard, that 8 mana black spell. Yeah, the other thing is they could chump block this with Wary Farmer, put the Mistmeadow Council in front of Gallant Foul Knight, put the Moonglove Extractor in front of Dundulin Weaver. Okay, interesting. I actually think I want to kill the Wary Farmer. Surveil could be relevant. And I don't really care about the extra power. And yeah, I'll play my land. I don't think there's any reason to save it. So if they have a board wipe, I mean, there isn't really a board wipe. Something I love about Lorwyn. You don't really have to be so afraid of board wipes. Unlike sets like Edge of Eternities. And let's see, maybe they have Bring All Your Elves back? Kifkin? No, they don't even have... The 8-mana spell that brings everything of a certain creature type back doesn't do it. Dawnhand Eulogist? Okay, that's not going to do it. So they may have something else here. They must have another blocker or something. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think I can just push lethal unless there's something I'm really not thinking of. If it's a single blocker or a single removal spell, I'm just pushing lethal, right? No, it's... yes. Yep. Well, if they can kill Thoughtweft Lieutenant... Yeah, I guess that's the thing. Okay, they did not kill Thoughtweft Lieutenant. Perhaps they should have. Perhaps they should have. Because now I... Surly Farrier... I don't know. Let's see. What is there here? There's only +2/+2, right? Well, I'll make it so you have to block some random thing. You can loop these guys, right? I have 2 of them and I can loop them. Like if this dies and I draw one, then I can draw the other one. There's no life gain. There's +2/+2 and hexproof. I don't think there's much else. All right, I won my first ever pick 2 draft game. Let's go. Let us go. I just want to remind myself of the prize structure. Okay, so you can lose 2 times. With 1 win, I get 150 gems back. I think this cost me 900 gems. So I need to do 2 more wins before I lose 2 in order to break even. Hey, that's not bad at all. That's not bad at all. People online were talking about the prize structure for pick 2 drafts being amazing compared to other draft prize structures. This is a sweet hand. I mean, I assume pick 2 draft is a blisteringly fast format, so... but if I got this hand at F&M, I would be like, oh, I'm like 75% chance to win this game just on the basis of my opener. Simply because like when you're shuffling actual paper cards, you don't get these like beautiful distributions of mana and cards, right? The hand smoother makes our lives so much easier in ways we don't even notice. Here, I kind of want... So Bristlebane Outrider is a more powerful card, but I have lots of power in my hand. I mean, as far as, you know, an aggro Kifkin deck goes. I think I want the Kinsbale Aspirant, I mean, because then I can cast that. No, I'm not going to double spell next turn at all, right? Because I don't want to play Dundulin Weaver with nothing in the graveyard. Okay, so it is Bristlebane Outrider. Sure. I mean, 2 3-drops and 2 4-drops is a little awkward for my deck. Stalactite Dagger, that's not a card I expected. I wonder if... I mean, I did play that card in the early format. People who've been watching my videos for a while know. But only in my first draft of Lorwyn, and it's because I misread it. I thought it auto-equips this thing to the creature, and it's just a 2/2 for 2. And I was like, this card's amazing. This is going to be like the top common. And then I played it the first time, and it made a 1/1 and didn't equip it. And I was like, wow, I totally misevaluated this card. Okay, so if Brigid survives, I'm really happy. The only thing is I kind of want to play Crossroads Watcher. So as like a removal magnet, and so that when Brigid enters, I'm getting value out of it. The only thing though is I don't really care that much about removal because I do have Dundulin Weaver, but I think let's just do this. I'm not going to attack into the 1/1. I don't really want their 1/1 token to trade with Eclipse Kifkin. It's not effective at pushing damage, so there's no reason to do it. So now we play Brigid, right? Yeah, I'm just going to play Brigid here. If they remove it, that's fine. Dundulin Weaver is online, and I get to crash in with a Crossroads Watcher for 5 damage. Feels like that's pretty strong. Tributary Vaulter is all well and good for them, but their thing is only going to have 1 toughness when they attack, so I can always just trade a 1/1 with it. And by the way, I will absolutely flip Brigid. I will absolutely flip her. I really do want the mana. So she would add 3 mana right now. Kind of want to go, let's see. Okay, so if I play Kinsbale Aspirant, that is mana neutral, right? Because now Brigid's going to add an extra 1, if I'm understanding it correctly. Yes. I haven't played with this card before, so just trying to make sure I understand it. The Dundulin Weavers are going to loop, right? If it dies, I bring it back, play it, the other one dies, I bring it back. That's totally awesome. I think that's really, really good. So now the question is, I mean, I could play Gallant Foul Knight, but I just think it's too early. I'm going to add 4 green and play a Bristlebane Outrider. And then once again, I'm going to crash in with Crossroads Watcher. And my deck seems awesome. Did I break pick 2 draft on my first try? Am I a natural genius of pick 2 draft compared to my skill at other draft formats? I don't know. I probably shouldn't pat myself on the back before I've even won this game. I am very confused by their deck, though. It's green, white, Merfolk running Noggle Robber and Wanderwine Trapper, Tributary Vaulter, Wanderwine Trapper, and Noggle Robber. I wonder if that's it. I wonder if I got really lucky at my draft table getting a synergistic pick 2 draft deck. And I mean, my last opponent did have a synergistic deck. Oh no, they played around Dundulin Weaver by exiling my guy with Crib Swap. Crib Swap is not a card that you should play in Limited. Giving your opponent a creature back is not good. A 1/1 back, it's so super relevant so much of the time. Now the question here is, do I actually just slap this down and attack with everything? It would allow them to eat both of my 1/1s. So maybe I just attack with the Outrider, the Aspirant, and the Kithkin. That's probably correct. I think I'm ready to start attacking. I really want to press my advantage while I have it. I don't really want to let them eat both of my tokens. I think that is an amount of value that could very well prove relevant here. But this is actually a lethal attack, so they have to do some blocking at least. And I don't think they have blocks that save material. And even if they do, we have Dundulin Weavers to bring stuff back. All right, a single chump block leaves me feeling pretty good. Winnowing does not kill us here. They have Winnowing mana. Yeah, Noggle Robber. Yeah, the thing about Crib Swap is what the Lords of Limited call rectangle theory. Great podcast, Lords of Limited. Recommend that you check it out. And the idea is if you are giving your opponent, basically having more rectangles in Contemporary Limited is a good thing. And if you're playing cards like there's Noggle the Mind and there's also Crib Swap that give your opponent a 1/1 in compensation for removing it, you are putting yourself down in resources because you just spent a card, got rid of a card, but then gave them back a card. Okay, it's a worse card, but you still gave them back a card. So just from a resource management perspective, and Magic is almost all about resource management, you are trading your resource down, right? You're going down a resource, an entire one, and they're not going down an entire resource. So I definitely recommend overall steering clear of that kind of a card. Here, I'm very happily just going to keep an Eclipse Kithkin. And also just empirically, when you just look at how much those cards win in recent sets, it's not that much. Yeah, so I do wonder how much pick 2 draft tends towards decks like our opponents. You would not see that at they were like 96% mythic or something. You would not see that in Premier Draft, a deck that's kind of like half Merfolk, half like green-red stuff. And I do wonder how much that's a pick 2 draft thing. I mean, it must be, right? I assume if that same player sat down at a Premier Draft table, they would get a much more synergistic deck. So I do wonder if, you can just get pushed around in pick 2 draft in a way that doesn't really happen in Premier Draft. Here, I'm almost certainly just going to take a land. The main thing that's awesome about these Eclipse cards is they let you hit your land drops. That is the crucial thing about them. I would love nothing more than for my opponent to play an artifact or an enchantment, but they do seem to be having some mana problems here. So I think I actually will open with attacking with Eclipse Kithkin. Actually, will I? Nah. I'm going to play Bridget, and then I'm going to block the Scarblade Scout with Eclipse Kithkin if they attack with it. I don't really want to give them the opportunity to make their 2 life back by attacking. Now, they could Blight Rot Bridget. That's not an issue for me, because next turn I will play Dundulin Weaver. All right, we called it. So next turn, I'll play Dundulin Weaver. Even if we trade Eclipse Kithkin for Scarblade Scout here, which may very well happen, I will nevertheless be able to double spell. And I'm going to do that anyways. I'm going to play the Surly Farrier first and then play Dundulin Weaver. The reason that I'm doing it this way is a single removal spell does not blow me out here. If I started with the Dundulin Weaver, they could bring me down to only having 2 creatures in play, and then I could really get in trouble. Now, I will certainly be attacking with the Eclipse Kithkin. I didn't want to trade that off beforehand for the reason that I just mentioned. It would give them the opportunity to bring me down below 2 creatures with a single removal. And nothing to be afraid of here. They played 2 Sneaklings, but then they just end up taking the damage anyways. That's perfectly fine. If they attack with their Sneaklings, I'm perfectly happy to get a Dundulan Weaver in the bin because, as I said before, we can trade them off, or we can loop them rather. So now if I get another Dundulan Weaver, I can bring back my Dundulan Weaver and establish a loop. This card is kind of nice for them. We'll see how often they're able to cast something during my turn. So if I can play 2 creatures, then I can convoke this thing in after blockers, but I don't think I'm able to double spell because my curve didn't work out. Oh, hold on. Aha, you are 2 creatures. Thank you, Brigid. All right, so I'm going to play Brigid. And now I can convoke this guy in. I actually would be able to attack. Yeah, so what I can do here is, let's say give Eclipse Kithkin Vigilance and attack with it. Then I can cast the Safe Right at instant speed, giving my guy indestructible if they block it. I'm not completely certain that this was the best thing to do because now they could have some kind of, I don't know, board wipe or something that I would have wished I could cast my Safe Right at instant speed to deal with. But I think this gives me, basically this is just demanding that they show me something amazing. All right, I'll take 2 lifelink. Yep. That's some board wiping behavior right there. That's the behavior of someone who has an answer to everything. So that is a very scary attack. Unless their idea is just the Nightmare Sower is like their way out of this situation. That could very well also be true. So I'll definitely pay this. I don't really want to overextend by slapping down every creature that I have. So why don't I start off with, let's say, Surly Farrier giving the Safe Right +1/+1. If they kill my Safe Right and give something else -1/-1, that's the price of doing business. Then I'll be happy that they don't have a board wipe. There isn't even really a board wipe in this situation. There's a 2/1 flash, I guess. They could have that. Or 4/2 flash, I mean. And then give something a -1/-1 counter, killing the Eclipse Kithkin. Whatever they cast here, they get to kill Eclipse Kithkin. That's fine. That's priced in. But if they start spot removing things, then I'm just going to immediately spit out my hand. I'll probably play a Wary Farmer into Bristlebane Outrider, which is already a pretty good board. This brings them back to your hand, not to play, right? Yeah. You're giving Brigid -1. Okay. And then you play your Sneakling killing Brigid. That's fine. Oh, I don't get to play 2 creatures. I guess I should have activated Brigid before. I didn't really think about, this is my bad. I didn't really think about the fact that they would target Brigid. I kind of just thought that they would play 1 spell and target the Kithkin. I should have used Brigid's mana. That was definitely a blunder on my part. No question. Are they going to double block? Interesting. Okay. I guess they don't really want to be taking 5 every turn, so I guess that makes sense. Also, they can kill Eclipse Kithkin. Yeah, okay. I definitely see the rationale of what they were doing. Their idea is keep Nightmare Sower alive because now they're just going to try to play on my turn all the time and just kill my stuff one by one. Very possible that that's a winning strategy. Very, very possible that that's a winning strategy. Safe Right Cavalry is not consistent with that strategy, so I'm very happy to see that come down. What I'm going to do here is just give the Wary Farmer +1, attack. Yep, so they don't have more instants. That makes me feel a lot better. Then I'll probably play the Bristlebane Outrider. And then I get to Surveil. Oh, Riverguard's Reflexes could actually be quite good for me. Kind of feel like keeping that on top. Actually, no, I don't really want to keep that on top. Because a land is good, a creature is good. Basically, all of my draws are good here. Riverguard's Reflexes is fine, but I worry that I could just get blown out with removal. Or any instant speed spell giving my thing -1. Like, they have hard to play combat tricks against them when they have Nightmare Sower and presumably a deck with a lot of removal in it. Although we haven't seen that much removal, just Blight Rot. But that even scares me even more. Makes me think they may have a bunch of removal that we just haven't seen. And they're continuing to attack with their Nightmare Sower. Okay, so Chomping Changeling finally has a target. That's quite nice. Hooray for the Chomping Changeling in best of 1. I'm just going to get rid of that thing immediately. I don't know what it's fixing them into or ramping them into, but I do not want to find out. And I don't think we can start throwing away resources yet by attacking with our 1/1s and our 2/1s. So let's just go in with these 2. And yep, that makes sense that they would block with the Death Toucher. Safe Right Cavalry would have been able to block Bristlebane Outrider and get pumped. Okay, so it was fixing them into something. They're actually some kind of Sultai control deck with Nightmare Sower. The question is that good? Okay, I'll just take this. Is that good in pick 2? So it's possible I should have blocked, but the problem is my quadruple block is so incredibly fragile. Okay, I actually really like this. Yeah, let's just land this guy. It's so incredibly fragile, right? Now, they are kind of killing me in the long run here. But my quadruple block, if they have a single removal spell, I'm just dying. So here I'm going to attack, attack, attack. My idea is if they kill the Sun-Dappled Celebrant, I'd like to be able to chump block with Chomping Changeling, and I'm putting on a lot of pressure. It's not quite a 2-turn clock. Okay, Glamour Gifter, giving something -1. And then you can kill the Surly Farrier by blocking it. But you can't actually eat something because the base power and toughness 4/4 doesn't matter. Sure, so you take 7 still. Still a lot of pressure. They are dealing 3 damage to me every turn. I'm feeling the just inability to play all of these cards out of my hand. That's pretty bad. So here if they attack with Safe Right Cavalry, I'll double block. If they buff it, they'll trade with the Sun-Dappled Celebrant. Okay, they're not going to attack with it. I guess their idea is that they're holding back everything with Safe Right Cavalry. No, because I just played another creature. Oh, that's really bad for me. Them playing Moon Vigil Adherence. Yeah, that's really bad for me. That really holds my stuff back, doesn't it? Darn. What do I even want? How do I get out of this one? Yeah. I guess Unbury was totally sweet because it just gave them so much stuff to do at instant speed. Okay, so double Surly Farrier. It's not quite going to do it. Wow. They just barely fought their way through Brigid, Selfless Safe Right. Okay, well, I'll play Surly Farrier and probably a Crossroads Watcher. And then I don't really have an attack. Right? I don't think I have an attack. That's too bad. This guy has Trample. I mean, I'm on a 2-turn clock. So it's kind of hard to see how I get out of this one. I actually don't think I have the cards in my deck to win now. Yeah, good for them. They found a Death Toucher. And then 2 creatures with just big enough stats, right? But really, it's the flying that got me. I just don't have an answer to flying. I guess I haven't seen Assert Perfection. If Assert Perfection is on top, I could Assert Perfection into Nightmare Sower and make my clock a little bit longer. Maybe I should have played the other Surly Farrier. No, I cannot buff it enough that I can attack through Moon Vigil Adherence. And the lifelink really mattered. How much lifelink has this gotten from them? Oh, playing the land. I mean, that's just a brag, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think we're toast. Shucks, that's too bad. I kind of feel like my super synergistic deck had a really, really good shot against them. But we just did not get there, yeah? It's too bad. Maybe I just needed some more lands. Like, I had so many cards stuck in my hand that whole time. And the fact that they were able to just, like, triple spell on my turn. They didn't even play particularly good cards on my turn. They just played enough cards on my turn that they shrunk it down. Maybe I had to, like, do some attacks earlier that would have pushed more damage. That's very possible. But I would have had to throw away material to do it. But yeah, maybe if I'd pushed with some 1/1s earlier, but I don't think so because then they would have just been able to not take damage on that last attack. Shucks, that's too bad. Maybe I'm not a secret genius of pick 2 draft. I feel like we got really, really close though. I mean, we definitely got really, really close in that game. It's just so much lifelink from the 2/3 lifelinker. All right, on to the next one. In terms of learning, what I learned from that, you know, you can't learn from every single loss, but whenever you lose, you should try to ask yourself if there's something that you should learn. And I think from that game, maybe if I went back over the logs, because I got them down to 2, maybe there were moments where I could have gotten more aggressive. When you get your opponent so low in life, you have to wonder if there was a way that you could just attack a little bit more aggressively, push a little bit more damage without losing too many resources. Here they're going to sear this, and then eventually I'll just Dundul and Weaver it back. So that's fine. And I will play Chomping Changeling with no targets next turn. Okay, no seer from them. I will play it with no targets next turn. Just to get closer to Dundul and Weaver count, I think. And to put pressure on. Okay, well now I'm not going to. Now I have a Surly Farrier, so let's just go ahead and do that. But I'm not going to offer the trade. I would like to hang on to my Thoughtweft Lieutenant, even though I have Dundul and Weaver. Maybe we can do something else with the Dundul and Weaver, because next turn I'm going to play Bristlebane Outrider, buff my Farrier. They can double block. Okay, I guess I would still be just killing the Cinder. Okay, why don't we just play a Sun-Dappled Celebrant? That sounds pretty commanding. I could also have played a Chomping Changeling to pop their treasure. That's an option for next turn. But we'll see what they do. Kind of like the idea of just having a 5/6 though. Rhyme can Recluse bouncing my Celebrant, and then maybe you get to start attacking. Oh, is this the end of the line for us? That would be so sad. I thought my deck was really good. Okay, well, I won't give up yet. I will play, kind of just want to recast the Sun-Dappled Celebrant, but maybe that's just not doing it here. Why don't I play this guy, destroy your treasure, and then we'll wait for blocks and we'll just kind of play dead, basically. Sure. Okay. You play Glamour Gifter, making something a 4/4. All right, so now my idea is I'm going to wait for you to attack, line up some blockers, and then play a Selfless Safe Right. The downside of that plan, I can't line up blockers that are completely suicidal, because the downside of that plan, oh my goodness, you have a Tanafel Rhymespeaker as well. The downside of that plan is if they can counter it, but now they do not have counter mana. So I'm anticipating that they'll attack and that we will get to line up some nice blocks and flash in a Selfless Safe Right. If they don't attack, which might actually be clever for them, then they actually probably have the edge. They definitely have the edge in the game because this Tanafel Rhymespeaker can just take over. They're not even going to attack, and they're going to draw a card. Well, I have to play this, right? I can't just not play this card. Yeah, so I guess I really needed more removal. I needed more removal in my deck. Well, we haven't lost yet, but it feels really hard to win because I'm the aggro deck, and now they have their entire value engine just like massively online. But let's see, maybe I can just push some damage. So this is not a Kithkin, so I don't get a buff from playing that. But I think I'll go in with the Selfless Safe Right because then I can recast it. That's kind of awesome. I can play Dundul and Weaver and recast the Safe Right. I'm also... Oh, I'm not trampling over for damage. Sorry, it does not have trample. But that's fine. So they may... Let's see. They may now have this problem where they just have a lot of cards in their hand. Gathering Stone. Well, that's going to help them draw lands. Yeah, I was going to say, when I play the Rhymespeaker, sometimes it's hard to stabilize. Okay, they pitched a bunch of like random little creatures that are not 4-mana spells. So I assume their hand is just absolutely crammed with 4-mana spells now. And they can just play their elemental. Yeah, I would put us at like 10% to win this game probably. Because they just got a big density of creatures and then they got their value engine online. Rhymekin Recluse was an absolute blowout. Like me investing in that Sun-Dappled Celebrant and then it getting Rhymekin Recluse and then a follow-up with Tanafel Rhymespeaker, that makes it very, very hard for the aggro deck to win, right? Yeah, I was expecting them to have that. Okay, so we learned a lot about Pick 2 draft though, right? I mean, basically what I've just learned, I'm not going to super invest in one single creature again, no. Basically what we've just learned is, yeah, it's really, really hard for a just generic aggro tribal deck to win in pick 2 draft, you probably, from this experience, I would say you just shouldn't do that. Pretty disappointing that we lost. I mean, this deck here is just absolutely going off against us. No shade to it. It's like clearly an incredibly good deck. And that's like a cool thing that we're learning about like how to build in this format, I'd say. But the last deck, I definitely think we really should have been able to win. Not that it was like a bad deck or something, just that it was not at all an experience where I'm looking at it and thinking like, oh, there's no way that I can win this. So I'll attack with 2 creatures here, even though it means I can't play the safe right. Okay, I'll just attack with 1 creature then. So clearly I made a mistake there. I was supposed to buff the same creature so that I would trample over for damage. Yeah, I mean, we just came so close, and too many creatures got stuck in my hand. So maybe I needed a plan for, maybe I just needed to be, well, I was thinking I needed to be on 16 lands game 1, and then game 2, I couldn't find enough lands. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just luck of the draw. They built around fairies, and building around fairies is pretty cool. I did see elementals. Maybe if I go back to my draft, maybe Kifkin, maybe something about pick 2 is like maybe some archetypes are just better than other ones. Okay, I don't really need to sit through this. Maybe in pick 2, some archetypes are just better than other ones, where like the best Kifkin deck, not that I had the best Kifkin deck, but it was a perfectly good one. Maybe that's just worse than a solid elementals deck. That's very possible. Because the second last game was very winnable for us. We just need to draw slightly differently. That game was just crushing. I guess maybe if I hadn't invested everything in the Sundappled Celebrant, I could have established a board presence earlier. But the issue is, I don't think that playing like single spelling with a smaller creature would have gotten me out of that situation. I think if you replayed that game and I made every play decision differently in every possible way, I pretty much don't think that I could win. It really came down to like what cards were in people's hands, and more importantly, what cards were in people's decks. So anyways, would I do pick 2 draft again? I guess if I have like a really small amount of time, but now I really want to play again because I'm not at all satisfied with a 2-2 result with this deck. If I had this in Premier Draft, I'm not saying it would definitely trophy, but this is like a good solid Kifkin deck. It has 2 relevant rares, it has a good top end, and it has a extremely strong curve. And Eclipse Kifkin is basically a good rare, as is like Kinsbale Aspirant in this format. Only a few clunkers like Chomping Changeling. So I tend to think this was a good deck, and if we ran it again, maybe we would get more wins. So I want to try a similar draft strategy and see if I can trophy in a pick 2 draft again. Well, anyways, so probably I'll just do that tomorrow. Tune in then to see if I can do better. And if you would like to learn along with me and get better at drafting, go ahead and click the subscription link in the description below. Until tomorrow, have tons of fun playing Magic, everyone, and don't be afraid to splash.